All right, but Pokemon Go has some updates and some um I don't additional I don't know how do you describe it without just calling it microtransactions. They're doing more microtransactions, and I have some feelings about it. Um,
Oh
I don't know about
no!
I don't know about you, Jesse, but I got some feelings.
Hurts you right in his feelings.
No, it doesn't. It, it doesn't hurt me in the feelings, but I just have some feelings about it.
Some strong feelings.
Some strong feelings, some weak feelings, feelings of all shapes and sizes. Speaking of shapes and sizes, we'll get into that too. What am I kicking around?
Oh,
Oh, okay. All right.
that foreshadowing.
Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Battle Science Podcast, the Pokemon Go PvP podcast. We talk about Pokemon Go PvP, Pokemon Go, Pokemon, and other stuff, and sometimes, other stuff as it strikes our fancy, like how the Seattle Kraken are getting absolutely annihilated by the Tampa Bay Lightning. I am one of your hosts, Steven, aka Boy in the Woods, joined as always by Jesse, aka Rocket Admin J.
How's it going, everyone?
Don't forget to hydrate. I've got a big old bottle of water here that I need to drink. Because if you donate blood, they take a lot of liquid out of you, and you gotta replace it. Because not only do you have to hydrate beforehand so the blood comes out quicker, you also gotta hydrate after so you can replenish the fluids. So, we've got
What's the date? It's
it's
December 13th.
December 13th. Not an unlucky day because it's a Tuesday and not a Friday.
That's true.
We've got some stuff going on. Last night, after donating blood, went and had some Dick's Drive-In, and you can like round up your purchase to like donate some change to their charity or whatever. And I looked at it and it was like $12.20 and I was like, do I round up to 13? Is that unlucky? I was like, just round up anyway, you know. I was like,
It's going to a good cause. It can't be bad.
yeah, it's probably not. It's probably not terrible. Um, it would have been fine if it was like rounding up to $12 or $14, but the $13, I was like, I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. Um,
Oh, these puns. Is Chris writing your script tonight?
no script. No script other than a list of things to get to. But before we get into the news roundup, let me talk to you a little bit about the wonderful people over at patreon.com/battlescience, the people that help keep this podcast running and up on podcast services around the globe. The wonderful Patreon podcast producers over at patreon.com/battlescience are Winston the Champ, Evo Stevo, J Mar, and Dan P, aka Sorov. Thank you to you wonderful Patreon podcast producers for the month of December, for helping keep this podcast online. You can join them if you go over to patreon.com/battlescience, back us the $5 tier or more. You can get your name read at the beginning of the show. If you want something other than your name being read at the beginning of the show, let me know. If you have, I guess it's just a shout out thing. So if you want like a YouTube channel shout out or something or whatever, I'm not
Social
totally
media.
against it as long as it's not inappropriate and like egregiously cash grabby. I mean, actually, if you want to just put your Cash App or something on here. I'm also not necessarily against that, but like, it'd be interesting. Jim is him. Maybe. You're not here. No, I don't want that one. I want patrons. Give me a second. Why do I only see? I have some information on here. Jim is him. I don't see, but I don't see all of the information I probably should be seeing via Patreon. So, I can get into it in a little bit.
It's okay, you don't love us anymore. I understand.
That's Jesse with some stakes driving into the heart. I'll look into it, see what's popping there. Let's see.
Was I ever not?
I don't think Jesse's ever been a good boy per se. But we're not gonna go too far into that kind of conversation. What was it?
Hey, I can crush those coals with my salt into diamonds.
Was it Depresso's Espresso is not here to get into those kinds of conversations. But let's pop into. I don't have my buttons here, so I'm gonna have to push other stuff. Let me find that one.
Giddy up now. This is the news roundup.
And we're going to jump into the news roundup. All right, so quick little post news from the past. Keldeo has shown up in Pokemon Go. Keldeo being the what technically Pokemon is it in the Pokédex? What's its name?
Occult Pokemon.
The occult Pokemon?
Cult, like horse.
Oh, the Colt. I'm hearing cult, and I'm like, what? Interesting. One of the Swords of Justice, sort of, technically the fourth member of that family. It is behind, or was, I should say, behind a paywall. You had to pay, what, $5? $10?
I think it was $5.
$5 to get the research to be able to complete. You complete the research and you get Keldeo with Sacred Sword as the fighting body slam clone. It's
right here under the text, $8.
Oh, $8? Oof. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're not missing anything. Keldeo t-shirt avatar item, 14 rare candies, 12 silver pineapples, 2 incubators, 2 super incubators, 2 incense, various fighting type and water type Pokemon encounters, and more. A fighting water. I don't remember catching Keldeo in my experience playing the main series game, so I was pretty darn sure it was fighting. I didn't realize it was a water type as well. Yep. Let's see. That joins the ranks of Poliwrath, and what other fighting waters are there?
Urshifu.
Which we don't have in the game yet. But is it gonna be so cool? I can't wait for Cubfu to be in Pokemon Go. If it's behind a paywall, I'm not getting it. Niantic.
All right.
I'm letting my feelings show.
Here are its moves for you.
Uh-huh.
Fast moves are Poison Jab, Low Kick.
Low Kick getting a buff this season. Poison Jab being all right. Okay.
Sacred Sword.
Uh-huh.
Close Combat.
Interesting.
X-Scissor. Hydro Pump and Aqua Jet.
On paper, that doesn't sound too bad. I mean,
its key traits are its spammy, flexible, fast move pressure, shield pressure, and defensive.
Okay. Why are its keys all sounding good? Why is it bad? Or why is it only okay?
It's behind a paywall.
Okay.
Its
like
key wins in Master League are against Yveltal, Excadrill, Swampert, Gyarados, and Dialga.
all very good. Are those key wins like high rated, or are those all closer to ties?
Its highest one is against Yveltal at 757.
That makes sense since it's a fighting type.
The lowest win is against Dialga at 571.
Okay. Interesting.
Recommended moveset is Poison Jab, Hydro Pump, Sacred Sword.
Yeah. Huh.
Overall in Master League, it's ranked 66.
That's not terrible, but also not via PV poke, I should say. That's 66 via PV poke.
The downside is you get one.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
if you don't get the optimal stats, you don't.
Yeah, you have, mileage may vary there.
Yeah.
Stats don't
And that's
matter.
the bane with these mythics.
Stats don't matter until they do. So,
Yeah.
there's no way to re-roll that kind of thing either. So,
And if you're running at Master League, that's maxed out. You're done. It's a resource dump.
yeah. Ooh, feisty. Almost got a fist fight with Tanev. Please. Sorry, more Kraken. 2 minutes and 40 left on the clock. It's gonna tick down at some point here.
But as of this recording, the event has ended.
Yes. Keldeo is no longer acquirable because it was at the end of a timed research that if you did not complete, it would go away, which is no, let's see, special research. Did they reference that it was
Yeah, it's a special research, so that means it's
okay. After you've received it, you can complete it at any time. Okay, so it wasn't a timed research where it goes away. Because they seem to be doing that with
more and more stuff.
Yes.
Some of the spawns that you got from the event, none of them were no different than what was already popping up.
Uh-huh. The biggest one was the new edition of Crabrawler. Does its evolution is in the game? Is that correct?
Crabominal, yeah.
Okay.
You have to use a rainy lure to evolve it.
Huh. Interesting. It's not a fighting water type though, is it?
1 second, I'm pulling it up because I forget myself.
Okay.
It is fighting ice.
Oh, right. It is a weird one.
In Master League, it's your anti-ground type. Its moves are Bubble or Rock Smash,
Ew.
Ice Punch, Crab Hammer, Payback, or Power Up Punch. It's really held back by its fast move, it looks like.
Yeah, that sounds like it could actually be pretty solid.
If it got counter, that would be ridiculous.
Yes.
Because Crab Hammer, it has a chance to boost your attack.
Interesting.
Or no, it's a guaranteed boost.
Oh. Huh.
And it hits like Shadow Ball.
Although it's not getting stab off of Crab Hammer.
Correct.
Interesting.
But it does have Ice Punch and Power Up Punch.
That's not terrible.
It's an Ice Poliwrath.
Yeah, it that gives it coverage against the flyers that would be hurting it as a fighting type. The ice doesn't give it flying resistance though.
Correct.
Which is not great. But then again, that's
in
ice
both
types.
Ultra and Great League, it is above rank 500.
But it's just still super low.
In Master League, it is 387.
That's not good. That's not
so
good.
it's literally just the fact that Bubble's hindering it.
Huh. Yeah, I would be interested to see it get a better fast move, but because that, along with a lot of other Pokemon, that charge move pool is pretty darn solid. It's literally just being held back by that five.
It's also really attack weighted. It's 206,
right.
128, 196.
Shoot.
Max CP at level 51. Level 50 is 5209.
Whoa! All right. Woo! All right. That's huge.
Or sorry, no, I'm sorry. That's overall stat. I'm looking at the wrong number.
Oh, okay.
3286.
Okay, that's considerably less impressive.
Yeah.
Huh. It's interesting.
I
That's
apologize. I was looking at
no,
overall
no.
rank.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't.
It hasn't impressed me yet. Let me look on Crab Brawler. Is still ranked 733 in Great League.
Oof.
It's got everything but Ice Punch.
Huh.
Everything else the same.
So it's poor fast moves along with everything else.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
But when it's in its first form, it's just fighting.
Huh. Well, that's actually everything but Ice Punch. You said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that because that
So
would.
Crab Hammer, Payback, Power Up Punch.
Oh, neat. With 6 seconds left, the Kraken scored a second goal. Yay. Yeah, because that with Ice Punch, it might actually make it kind of interesting. But if it doesn't have Ice Punch, then it doesn't have that additional coverage against flyers.
But yeah, I personally didn't play in the event, so I can't really say yay or nay.
So I mean, neither of us bought the ticket, but you and I both played and caught stuff at least.
Mm-hmm.
I did get the I got a Hundo Meta Tight, which I evolved into Metacham. So I now have the Hundo for when Mega Metacham comes out, which is very nice.
I got 3 Hundo Machops and found a replacement Hitmontop for Great League.
You mad lad. The Hondo Machamp is something I've been looking out for a very long time, and the fact that you found 3 is painful.
I didn't see any Ferroseed, so that must have been part of the event one.
Yep. Increased incense encounters. It was not part of the wild encounters.
Something we should have mentioned was this is a good opportunity to stock on some really good competitive Pokemon.
Yes.
Sorry
So
about that.
huh?
Sorry to our listeners.
The details for this event kind of just came up real quick, so it's one of those things of since we record bi-weekly, like unless we do a short something every on the in-between weeks of a main episode, there's not a whole lot we can do.
Hopefully you went out there and caught some stuff. Not an overwhelmingly exciting event, but something to do.
With the new Pokemon coming out in Scarlet and Violet, hopefully you caught some really low-level Mankey. Although I've got a sneaking suspicion we are going to get Mankey as a community day at some point. Because with its new
spoiler warning.
If you don't want to hear anything about Scarlet and Violet, skip about a minute or so from now. I won't be saying too much more details other than Primeape gets a evolution that makes it very ripe for a community day. Like it's so perfect for a community day at some point. So the new move it gets access to that it has to use is a requirement for it to evolve is perfect for it to get for a community day. So yes.
And that'll be an interesting typing to see when it does come out.
Yes. I don't know its stat breakdown, but this could be
ridiculous.
It could be a really, really good addition to Go. Let's see. Let me just kick that off so my tablet's battery isn't dying. All right, moving on because that's enough talking about past events. Jesse, do you want to talk about Pokemon sizes?
Sure. I sent you an image of its stats. So, one of the new updates that we recently had has been new Pokemon sizes have been discovered in Pokemon Go. If you have been someone that has played Pokemon Go for a while, this was kind of first introduced with Pumpkaboo, an actual physical manifestation in game other than just being a tag or an achievement you could get with catching Rattatas or Magikarp. Trainers tend to break out the scales. Other trainers have recently discovered XXS and XXL Pokemon. In the graphic here, you can see that the Poochyena has 3 varying sizes. Pokemon such as Poochyena, Mightyena, and Mawile have recently been observed in 3 sizes, and your Pokedex has been updated to start tracking these sizes of the Pokemon that you catch. We wonder if other Pokemon have undiscovered sizes as well. Keep a sharp eye out, trainers. We will try to find these elusive Pokemon and update the records in your Pokedex. Let's go. So, more sizes of Pokemon appearing in Pokemon Go. Trainers around the world have encountered Pokemon in previously undiscovered sizes. The 3 so far are Poochyena, Mightyena, and Mawile. And doesn't say that they're going to be increasing the rates of those, so I think those are the only ones so far that have the new effects. The new effects being, if you've played the main series games, if a Pokemon is smaller than normal, it'll have a blue particle effect, and if it is larger than normal, it'll have an orange particle effect when you click on the Pokemon. And it says here, new animations. When you encounter an XXS or an XXL Pokemon, you might notice things that look different. That's the animation. So it looks incredibly like a shiny effect when you click on it, and it loads the Pokemon.
It's more detailed. Which
right, but to someone that doesn't know what these particle effects are, they'll think it's a shiny.
Yeah, you might think it's a shiny. Hopefully, people that are colorblind don't get it too confused.
I would think that they might put it like an icon on top of the name, like they do with the shiny.
So the one thing to keep in mind as I'm just watching this animation go through is that when it's tiny, the arrows, there are spiraling arrows that point inward, and when it's huge, there are spiraling arrows that point outward.
Correct.
So
that's reminiscent of what they started in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Yes. So, but a shiny is somewhere around like this. This is a lot more detailed of an animation than the shiny animation, which is like, I think 8 to 10 stars, maybe 5 to 10 stars that sort of circle around. This has like, hopefully your phone is more recent because this might make some phones chug.
That's interesting. I don't see this animation on my announcement that you're looking at.
I'm on Pokemon Go Live's blog post.
I am too.
Scroll
For
down
me,
a
it's
little
just
bit.
a gray box. I'm looking exactly where you're looking at on the stream.
On your desktop, it's not showing.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder, you got it open in Chrome?
Might be my ad block.
Oh my god, that would make sense. I think my one question here, just generically, is does this change the catch radius?
I would say yes. Because it's a bigger target or a smaller target.
I would imagine so, which kind of sucks. That's kind of really not great.
But at the moment, the only 3 that have this effect are Poochyena, Mightyena, and Mawile.
Right. You're not going to see a whole lot of Mightyena. The only dark type I'm seeing consistently right now is Umbreon, and I don't really know why, but okay.
No.
If
you want to go ahead and scroll down a little bit more, we can talk about how their sizes will be tracked in the Pokedex. You can kind of see it reminiscent right now in the game if you go through and check your recently caught Pokemon. It'll tell you it's the tallest they've seen or the heaviest they've seen, the shortest they've seen, or the lightest that they've seen recently. So, and then you can go to your Pokedex like it's showing here, and it'll show you your biggest and heaviest and your tiniest and your smallest. It's currently in its current state, it's purely cosmetic.
Yes.
So,
there is a reason we're talking about it here on the podcast, and that is because for those of you who have played the main series games, you know where I'm going. For those of you that haven't played the main series games, you don't know where I'm going. There are some, I think it's ballpark 3 or so moves, 3 to 5 moves that have differing effectiveness depending on the size of a Pokemon.
or the weight.
Well, I say size as a generic term for both weight and height. Sorry, let's go with volume of a Pokemon.
The volume of a
Um,
Pokemon. How loud are you?
um, um,
Xcloud would like to voice an opinion.
so Grassnot is the one that comes to mind immediately. I believe it's Grassnot, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So Grassnot is I believe it's a physical type, grass type move that damages your opponent more the heavier the opponent is. So theoretically, it's like a tripping move that the heavier basically the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Basically, there's a
Think
couple
of
of
it
other
like a root popping up out of the ground and tripping someone.
So right now with having size differences, so there are still size differences for Pokemon. It's not just generally not visually established yet. The only other instance in which it is shown is the Gourd Pokemon.
Pumpkaboo and Gorgeist.
Yeah, Pumpkaboo and its evolution Gorgeist are the only other ones that have the physical representation of the different sizes. So the currently in Pokemon Go, Grassnot doesn't change its damage output depending on size, but it is something that the main series does have as far as mechanics. So it is something we could see in Pokemon Go at some point. The one sort of question is that with a lot of the other mechanics being simplified versions of what's in the main series games, it's kind of questionable if we'll ever really get that mechanic in battling within Pokemon Go. With something like things like status effects not being in the game and generally being translated as attack or defense buffs or debuffs. It's probably not. It's something we could see, but probably not something we will see at least for a while. So, is there any other moves you can think of that might? Because I know we have Grassnot in the game because Raichu learns it. Is there anything else as far as move wise? I want to say there's like a fighting type move. It's not knock.
Sweep.
Low sweep. Okay.
And heavy slam.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have low sweep in the game?
Yeah, but it's a fast move.
Okay. So then we could still see an effect there. That would be interesting.
Maybe you generate more energy based on the size.
I don't know. I don't know how they really implement it without it being potentially absolutely game breaking. Like potentially better than counter. In some cases, but it's a matter of, because I know you were talking about on the Discord about people then not only keeping track of what their stats are of a particular Pokemon, but also the size of the Pokemon. So like a rank 1 might be pretty solid, but it might also be a very large representation of that species, where a, rank 15 or a rank 50 might be a much smaller variant where some of those moves aren't going to be doing as much damage. So
right. The one example given would be like Bastiodon.
Yes,
having a large Bastiodon versus a small.
That might be very, very key. So I don't know.
It's not something I would say worry about right now. Just enjoy the aesthetic for what it is. But just put it on the back burner.
Yeah, it's something within the main series games that they've implemented that we might see here in Pokemon Go. There's really no indication other than they're expanding the feature to other Pokemon currently.
You were the one that pointed out to me that this is something they might be doing to incorporate Pokemon Go into the other games moving forward.
I don't believe I mentioned that.
Yeah, you mentioned that it was something that the other games like Arceus and stuff have done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the overworld, it's something that we might see in not only in the catch screen, because currently we're seeing it in the catch screen and your buddy size.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's really showing it in the overworld, but it is definitely something that when you're playing Legends Arceus or Scarlet and Violet, when you're encountering Pokemon in the wild, their size is represented in the overworld. So if you have a small... the downside is some bug Pokemon are already absolutely minuscule. So if you have a small variant, it is even smaller. To the point where, depending on what screen you're playing the game on, it's like 3 pixels wide, which is dumb. But I don't know. Here, have some more of my feelings. Yeah, it's a bringing Pokemon Go into more cohesion with the main series games of showcasing the size of a Pokemon a lot more obviously, rather than just having it be a stat that generally no one gives a hoot about. So righty. The next bit, the next event that's happening, Jesse, it's beard. It's an icy beard. Icy beard, Mega Galele, shiny Bergmite, and more are being welcomed to Pokemon Go. Trainers, it's the season of cheer for Pokemon and trainers alike. Some new and familiar Pokemon faces are joining in the fun, and you and your Pokemon can look your winter best with brand new avatar items, poses, and more. Join us for the first part of a 2-part festival winter holiday event in Pokemon Go. Winter Holiday Part 1, Thursday, December 15th, 2022 at 10 a.m. to Friday, December 23rd, 2022 at 10 a.m. local time. Mega Galele debuts. Mega Galele will make its Pokemon Go debut in Mega Raids. This is Galele. Is it now Steel or is it still just Ice?
It's still just Ice.
Okay. It's Steel just Ice?
Steel just Ice.
Puns. I've been punned in return. It's like Pac-Man but with a beard and also not yellow. So,
I never thought of it like that. It's pointy Pac-Man.
It's big. Yeah, it's big pointy Pac-Man.
Waka waka waka.
With a beard. It's a black beard, so it's not like a Kratos beard, but it's bushy like a Kratos beard. So this you could call a Mega Galele.
You know what it really looks like is those things in Doom.
Oh, those are mono-eyed. Those are Caco demons.
Yep.
Okay, that's a yeah. That might have been on the board as far as concept ideas for sure.
What I always think of when I see it when we were playing Arceus and they were floating around, I was like Doom guy.
Event bonuses: 50% more XP for winning raid battles. Trainers can store up to 40 gifts until the end of the event. Time to
all doing gifts.
Timed research for $5 or the equivalent pricing tier in your local currency. You'll be able to access event-exclusive timed research. Complete the research task to earn event-themed avatar pose. Other timed research rewards include 2 incubators, 1 incense, a Abomasnow Mega Energy, various event-themed Pokemon encounters. Important, please note the timed research expires. The tasks associated with timed research must be completed, and their rewards must be claimed before Saturday, December 31st at 8 p.m. local time. Trainers will be able to purchase and gift tickets to any of their Pokemon Go friends that they have achieved a friendship level of great friends or higher with. Please note that purchases blah 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 are non-refundable, etc., etc. Yeah, there's nothing special about this, and it's $5. The joke, the season of microtransactions, is not really a joke. It seems to actually be happening. This is additional payment number 3, and we are 2 weeks into the season. Out of, let's see, there's 4 weeks in a month. 8, 12 weeks. We have 3 in 2 weeks, and we have 10 more weeks to go.
We already know one of them with the season of Hoenn Tour.
Yeah, Hoenn Tour has multiple additional things you can purchase, both for the Las Vegas event and for the global event. If I had to make a guess, I would say this is the last fiscal quarter for Niantic, and they want a very big jump in revenue. So they're kind of throwing everything at the wall and seeing what'll stick. It's honestly kind of painful to see. Wild encounters for this event. This is not locked behind the $5 tier. This is just wild encounters for the first half of the Winter Holiday Part 1. Pikachu wearing a winter carnival outfit. That is the sweater and top hat.
From last year.
Yes. Swinub, Delibird, Snorunt, Sfeel wearing a holiday outfit. Snover, Vanillite, Cubchoo, and Bergmite, with Bergmite's shiny being introduced as part of this event. If you're lucky, you might encounter the following: Alolan Vulpix, Stantler wearing a holiday outfit, and Cryogonal. So a bunch of Ice-type Pokemon spawning no matter if it is snowing in-game or not, which I do appreciate, considering how not often we get snow, and how difficult it is when it is snowing to go out and play Pokemon Go. Eggs. Following Pokemon will hatch from 7K eggs, a similarly small egg pool. Sneasel, Smoochum, Amora, Bergmite, and Crabrawler. So Crabrawler is coming back in 7K eggs for this event. Raids in 1 stars: Pikachu, Alolan Vulpix, Sfeel, Galarian Darumaka, and Bergmite. In 3 stars, Cloyster, Lapras, Stantler, and Glaceon are in 3 stars. 5-star raids is Cobalion. Mega raids is Mega Glalie. Cobalion caught from Thursday, December 15th to Friday, December 25th, or 23rd, I should say. We'll know the following move: Sacred Sword. So if you don't have a Cobalion with Sacred Sword, it will be available from raids. I want to say it's not a super difficult. It's a Steel Fighting. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a legendary Lucario.
So if you have a
Fire Ground Steel. Fire Ground Fighting.
Yep. Yeah, go fight it and get one.
Heatran. Use Heatran.
Yeah, that works too. Its shiny is also available.
It does beat
so
Heatran too.
Oh, it does? Oh, that's right, because Heatran's a steel.
I forget.
Field research task encounters: Pikachu, Alolan Vulpix, Seal, Shelder, Jinx, Stantler, Sfeel. Seal and Sfeel are in field research, and Crabrawler. If you're lucky, you might encounter the following from research: Sneasel and Glaceon. The thing to note is all Sfeel, Glaceon, Stantler, and Pikachu are all wearing outfits, which means they generally are not able to evolve.
And none of those are new.
Yeah. Complete certain field research tasks to earn Mega Energy for Abomasnow, which is great because it doesn't feel like some of that Mega Energy has been in the research rotations. So it has definitely shown up at the beginning of this season and in these events. Avatar items and stickers, of course. I got to get me some of those Alolan Vulpix stickers. That is great. There are some new avatar items. You can make yourself look like Santa, as well as some holiday-themed pajamas for your Christmas Day festivities. Jesse, you pointed out to me that we are hitting a giant milestone for Pokemon Go. With this event, we will now be able to have facial hair for our characters in Pokemon Go. Huh?
Scroll up just a little bit.
Scroll up?
A little bit, just a smidge.
Holiday beard.
Right there. Highlight that.
Yup.
Boom.
Holiday beard. We can now have facial hair in Pokemon Go, but it's only white and it's only a Santa beard. So, yeah.
How does this make you feel?
Well, at least I don't have to pay $5 for it. I don't. It's just in the shop, which it's probably going to cost coins. Is it already in the shop, by the way? Let's take
I
a
haven't
look.
checked yet.
Let's take a peek. Give me them styles. Give me go featured.
Nope, still Solgaleo.
I can get a Solgaleo face beard thing. Mane. I don't know.
I imagine that'll be here after next week.
It'll be here in 2 days. So yeah, it'll be around.
That Solgaleo mask is something special.
Yeah. Alolan Vulpix. That's all I got, really. Because the downside is feel... Well, okay. So Alolan Vulpix, as far as PvP, Swinub's evolutions have all had some pretty reasonable performance. I want to say it also got buffed by a particular move adjustment. I don't remember which one. At the beginning
Oh, it
of the
got
season.
high horsepower.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Snorunt for Frostlass.
Yep.
Snover, Obama you really want Shadow, but it's also just not a bad Mega.
Mm-hmm. Beartick's an interesting one. And then Bergmite gets a Hisuian form.
The second half of the holiday event.
Right, but it doesn't require like a Hisui Bergmite. So at some point we might get the option to evolve it into a Hisui form. So while Avalugg is kind of a middling ice type, and ice types just generally don't perform very well, getting
Hisuian's pretty good. It's a ground ice.
Okay, so it's sharing the same typing as
Mamoswine.
Yeah, Mamoswine and Piloswine. So yeah, having a few Bergmite, a few low attack, low level Bergmite in your inventory probably aren't a bad thing to keep around.
It's also probably something that's going to be ridiculous cost, so save up candy.
Yeah, what is Bergmite's evolution cost right now?
It's normally 100.
Okay. You think when it evolves, when they give us the option to evolve it into Hisui, you think it's going to be like 400?
I think it'll be a conditional like it was for Ursaluna. But at the same time, it potentially could be something good in Master League.
I imagine it's going to be the Bergmite you have to be able to evolve them into the Hisui form. I imagine it's going to be like the Alolans, where we'll have like a particular window. Like we'll have a couple-hour window.
That or they'll just throw it in raids.
Well, I mean, we're getting Hisuian... Give me 1 second. I got my headphones off. We're getting Hisuian Avalugg in raids with the next event, but the window in which we'll be able to evolve... It's not planned now, but it will be happening at some point. A window where you can evolve Bergmite into Hisuian Avalugg. So
you would hope.
Again, we got it for the Alolan forms, everything except for Raichu, and there was there one other, or am I just thinking of Galarian Weezing?
I think Galarian Weezing, yeah.
That's going to happen at some point. So, boy, howdy, is it going to be cool. Okay. So that's the thing. That's only the first half. We'll get more information on the second half soonish. We'll be in the middle of it for the next podcast. Depending on how amazing it is, maybe we put out another podcast. A little short Christmas special. We'll see. All right, this weekend, December 2022 Community Day. Previously featured Pokemon from 2022 and 2021 Community Days return. So I'm going to breeze through the article here so I can switch over to the infographic, which is going to have a lot more readability if you're watching a video version of this podcast. Trainers, the year is nearly behind us, which means it's time to reflect on the fun everyone had during this year's Community Days. The last Community Day of 2022 will take place over 2 days, Community Days, plural, Saturday, December 17th, and Sunday, December 18th. Throughout the event, Pokemon featured in Community Day events in 2022 will appear more frequently in the wild and in timed research. Pokemon featured in in Community Day events throughout 2021 will hatch from eggs and appear in raids and timed research. There's no better way to wrap up the year than by catching Pokemon from Community Day events you may have missed. Okay, so bonuses. Pretty much everything we could have as a bonus, we're getting as a bonus for Saturday and Sunday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So we're only getting it on the 2 days. We're getting 3 hours each of bonuses. So 2 times XP for catching Pokemon. A half hatch distance when eggs are placed into incubators during the event period. 2 times chance for trainers level 31 and up to receive XL candy from catching. Incense will last for 3 hours. Trades made during the event will require 50% less Stardust. There's a couple of asterisks here, and I'll get to that here in a moment. 2 times Stardust for catching Pokemon, 2 times Candy for catching Pokemon. Lure modules activated during the event will last for 3 hours, and 1 additional special trade can be made for a maximum of 2 per day. So the trades made during the event will require 50% less Stardust, and 1 additional special trade that can be made for a maximum of 2 per day are both on larger timers, so they're active from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time. So I imagine those are for each day and not 9 a.m. on Saturday to 9 p.m. on Sunday. Though later on in this article, I might be stand corrected. All right. Featured Pokemon. A different set of Pokemon will be featured on each event day, Saturday, December 17th, and Sunday, December 18th, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. The Pokemon that appear during this time will have the same chance of appearing as a shiny Pokemon as those that appeared during their original Community Days. Outside of these times, any featured Pokemon may appear from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time on either Saturday or Sunday. So, hold on. Pokemon that appear during this time will have the same chance of appearing as a shiny. So, am I?
Nope, you're reading that right.
So, shiny odds are boosted for these Pokemon during these windows, but the spawns aren't necessarily.
Correct.
Weird. Okay. So, quote-unquote featured Pokemon for Saturday from 2 to 5. Sandshrew, Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Geodude, Hoppip, Spheal, and Stuffle. The Pokemon featured on Sunday, December 18th from 2 to 5. Teddiursa, Galarian Zigzagoon, Starly, Roggenrola, Litwick, and Dino. Lucky trainers may encounter the following Pokemon on either day. These are the Community Day Classic Pokemon that have been featured over the course of this year, and those are Bulbasaur, Dratini, and Mudkip.
I just like to point out, lucky trainers might encounter these Pokemon, and then if you're lucky, you could encounter a shiny one.
Yes.
How can I stack luck?
You don't. You stack statistics, and that's it. Luck.
So Steven just told me get ratioed is what I heard.
Luck doesn't stack. Luck. There is no perk to increase luck. This is real life. This isn't Dungeons and Dragons. This isn't the video games. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna pull out my Game Shark and stick it in my phone. Okay.
Good luck. Also, please do that and send me a photo. I would like to laugh. On days where I'm feeling especially depresso, I would love to pull that photo up and get a good chuckle. Also, which generation of Game Shark do you still have? Raids. The following Pokemon will appear in raids in 1-stars. Get ready. Machop, Eevee, Roselia, Swablu, Duskull, Shinx, Gible, Snivy, Tepig, Oshawott, and Fletchling. By the way, all of those can be shiny. No surprise there. They were all Community Days. The exact same list is available in 2K eggs during the event. Featured attacks. The following featured attacks will be available when evolving to the Pokemon, except Ursaluna on Saturday. Wait, hold up. What the heck? Hold on. So the following featured attacks will be available when evolving to the following Pokemon, except for Ursaluna on Saturday, December 17th and Sunday, December 18th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time. So Venusaur will get Frenzy Plant. Sandslash will get Cantonian Sandslash will get Night Slash. Alolan Sandslash will get Shadow Claw. Machamp will get Payback. Alolan Golem will get Rollout. The evolutions. So, ew. What? Wait. Okay. These weren't featured. Interesting.
This is a way for them to be able to give it to people again, I think.
Yes. So Vaporeon will learn Scald. Jolteon will learn Zap Cannon. Flareon will learn Superpower. Espeon will learn Shadow Ball. Umbreon will learn Psychic. Leafeon will learn Bullet Seed. Glaceon will learn Water Pulse. Sylveon will learn Psyshock. So these are the most recent community days. They will not be able to learn Last Resort. Eevee caught or hatched during the event will know Last Resort, but that will not give the evolutions Last Resort, which in some cases are a better coverage move than the moves that they are given here as their secondary community day moves. So if realistically, I don't think there is a single evolution that is relevant in PvP that gets that needs their most recent community day move and Last Resort.
No, but I would say Psyshock on Sylveon over Last Resort.
Right. And I mean, Umbreon is you either want Psychic or Last Resort. You're not running both. Leafeon just doesn't perform, so it doesn't make sense to have Bullet Seed and Last Resort.
Bullet Seed's a fast move, though.
Right. I know. But you can't evolve it to have both. You have to use an Elite TM. Correct. There's no reason to use an Elite TM on Leafeon to get both.
No.
Unless you just want it. In which case, go for it. But as far as competitive goes, there is absolutely zero reason for you to do it. Do not feel obliged to do it. Okay. Dragonite will learn Draco Meteor, which is its classic move. It didn't get a new move. Jumpluff will learn Acrobatics. Swampert will learn Hydro Cannon, again a classic. Altaria will learn Moonblast. Oh wait, these are all classics because they're old. Altaria will learn Moonblast. Walrein will learn both Powdered Snow and Icicle Spear. Staraptor will learn Gust. Luxray will learn Psychic Fangs. Roserade will learn interesting. They have the same text for both, but they show both icons. So it'll learn the Fast Attack Bullet Seed and the Charge Attack Weather Ball. That could have been formatted better. Garchomp will learn Earth Power. Dusknoir will learn Shadow Ball. Superior will learn Frenzy Plant. Emboar will learn Blast Burn. Samurott will learn Hydro Cannon. Gigalith will learn Meteor Beam. Chandelure will learn Poltergeist. Hydreigon will learn Brutal Swing. Talonflame will learn Incinerate. Bewear will learn Drain Punch. Obstagoon will learn Obstruct. Ursaluna. So here's the really weird asterisk thing, which I need to pay attention to because, again, I didn't play an ounce of Teddy Ursa Community Day. This is important. Ursaluna. Evolve Ursaring into or during a special full moon to get Ursaluna that knows the Charge Attack High Horsepower. The full moon will be in the sky from 2 p.m. on Saturday, December 17th to 6 a.m. on Sunday, December 18th, and from 2 p.m. on Sunday, December 18th to 9 p.m. on Sunday, December 18th. So you can evolve Ursaluna to get high horsepower in a much more limited window, but it is basically the evenings of each of the days. Weird. I don't know why they need to be that specific. They really shouldn't. It could just be a matter of Ursaluna. You can't evolve Ursaring into Ursaluna until these windows. Just because they're then overriding it and saying, oh yeah, that's when we have a quote unquote full moon. If you check,
I think it's not. I'm trying to remember what the word would be. Specifics, I guess.
yeah, if you look at the moon cycle, we're not actually having a full moon. I think that was either last weekend or the weekend before. This is basically just saying, oh yeah, for the sake of
you caught a bunch on Community Day. You can now go evolve the ones you want.
Exactly. Community Day special research story, December Community Day 2022 for $1. You'll be able to access December Community Day exclusive special research story, December Community Day 2022. Stay tuned for when tickets for the special research story go live. I will probably get this because it's only $1 and it provides additional candy, additional encounters with higher stat products. So, and I pretty much always do the $1 Community Day research. It should also give you at least 1, if not 2 incense, maybe a couple of lure modules as well. Basically just supplying you with the necessary catching aids for Community Day. So, timed research leading to encounters with Pokemon featured in previous Community Days in 2021 and 2022 will be available. Stickers, you'll be able to get 2022 Community Day stickers by spinning Pokestops, opening gifts, and purchasing them from the in-game shop. Oh, there's a lot here. So they're all spawning from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on both days, but from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. is when you get boosted shinies. Jesse, how much of this weekend are we playing?
However much you guys want to.
I
wouldn't mind just going to Crossroads and bringing our Switches and hanging out.
Yeah. The only downside is at some point they might try to kick us out. If we're just holding a table for as long as we might be.
I mean, at the way the last few times I've seen that mall, I don't think they would mind if we're just hanging out.
Yeah, as long as we're not bringing in like outside food or anything. So
yeah,
as long as we're not being butt cheeks about it. So,
I will say I think day 2 is much more entertaining for me.
As far as shinies,
it's Pokemon I care about.
Well, so I mean, here's the thing that I'm still not 100% sure. Is that just the shiny rates are boosted, and so you're still seeing all of the Community Day Pokemon spawning at once? It's just that the shiny rates are boosted for this particular pool, or are the spawn rates for each day different?
I think it's the spawn rates
because they don't reference that.
A different set of Pokemon will be featured on each event day. The Pokemon that appear during this time will have the same chance of appearing as shiny as Pokemon that participated in the original Community Days. Outside of these times, any of the featured Pokemon may appear.
Yeah, so
from those times, these are going to be, so for a Sunday example, those are going to be the majority of spawns.
It's still super unclear, and I really don't know. Unfortunately, we kind of just have to wait and let the beta testers, aka APAC, Asia Pacific, experience it first to really get a better sense as to what's going on.
I mean, from Saturday, I think you're mostly interested in Sandshrew, right?
Yes, Sandshrew for candy, and I'd love to get a Hundo's feel. Actually, and a Hundo Stuffle would be cool too, but Hundos generally don't come my way very often.
Not unless we play in town.
Yeah, and in that case, I have a higher chance of getting the Shundo too. Although none of those are green shinies, so probably not. Well, except for Hoppip, so probably not going to happen. Day 2, Teddy Ursa, pretty much. A couple more Hundos I'd love to get.
Zigzagoon and Dino.
So, didn't you get a Hundo Dino though?
No.
Oh. Huh. I thought you got the Hundo, but you didn't get a shiny.
Dino, yes.
Yeah.
Zigzagoon, no. hopefully the Zigzagoon won't be boosted this time either.
Right, because there was a couple of windows where the Zigzagoons were boosted. Yeah, we'll have to. Honestly, I have no idea how they're breaking the spawns here. Because it could be 9-9, where we're seeing just a ton of community day spawns, with low shiny rates, and then in these periods the shinies are boosted. We could also just see loads of community day spawns with higher spawn rates for those particular quote unquote featured Pokemon.
And then the other three, the classics, no one's going to turn those away. Those are all really good.
Yeah. Two of them have megas, and one of them is a very solid dragon type. So, yeah.
Not to mention all three of those, you'll be able to evolve and get their community moves.
Yeah. I mean, is it all previous community day? No. Community day Pokemon that have been featured within the last 2 years are getting their community day moves back. So, Charizard, Charizard, Blastoise.
Charizard was a classic last year.
Was it last year?
Yep.
Well, so it was last year, but not this year.
Correct.
So it was a classic, but it's not. Its original community day was not last year.
Correct.
So it's kind of an odd. It doesn't surprise me that it's being excluded here. But not every community day move is coming back. They've done a pretty decent job of bringing. They've done an okay job of bringing community moves, making them available again. At different events at different points in time. So I'm not like. I don't hate this, but I don't love this either. So, I don't know. I gotta drink more water. I can feel it in my throat. Yeah, there is a lot. A lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
So, a ton of chances to go get resources, so candy, stardust, etc. I imagine spawns are going to be kind of wild. So if you're just looking for things like stardust and generally getting candy, this is a pretty reasonable time to do so. If you're hunting for any one Pokemon in particular, it might be a little bit more difficult just with the sheer amount of featured spawns. So we kind of just have to wait and see what's happening with all of that stuff. So
Benefit is we'll have the bonuses for trading as well. So if you don't get one, if you can't find a hundo you like, you can also burn some extra trades.
Yeah. Okay. Any other bits here before we move on?
Do we talk about which ones are? I mean, we've throughout the year you've hung out with us and heard which Pokemon for community days are competitively superior. Use the same knowledge here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mileage may vary. I think I'm trying to see if any of these are. I think the one that I would say there's like 2 or 3, and they're primarily being featured on Sunday, where like even in Silph metas they're just not gonna pop off. I don't know if Ursaluna is really gonna be fantastic within Great League. So Silph metas, I don't think you have to worry too much about it. Starly and Staraptor, it just doesn't have the performance. It's very glassy. Its moveset doesn't really help it. You can see some performance with it. It's not completely useless, but it's very situational. There are better Pokemon that perform the same role in magnitudes.
I would say
magnitudes
Alolan
better.
Graveler has come up multiple times in Silph Arena metas.
Yes. I'm just pointing out the ones that don't.
Okay.
So Ursaluna, again, probably not going to see. It hasn't been around very long, considering it was last month's Community Day. And we haven't seen a Silph Arena meta where it, could potentially dominate. So might be one to look out for if you didn't get a whole lot of good stuff from November's Community Day. Again, Starly, it's a flying normal, so those spawns never went away. They will be all over the place in the future. Also, next year, if we keep going by regions, next year will be Sinnoh, right? This year is Hoenn. Next year is going to be Sinnoh, so we'll see we'll see Starly all over the place again. Anyway, and then the next two. So it's not is Roggenrola. Is that right?
Yep.
Roggenrola, Meteor Beams. It's not Boldor. Boldor's its second. What's its third?
Gigalith.
Gigalith. Don't worry about it. It's cool. It's a rock raider, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Chandelure is just so frail. And Poltergeist is a nuke move. In general play, Chandelure's going to have more play, I think, in Ultra and Master. And even then, Poltergeist doesn't give it a whole lot of benefits and bonuses. So another one, like, overall. The rest of them, look out for good Great League ones. If you don't have them already, look out for additional resources, additional shinies, etc. So
one thing I would like to say, if any Niantic employees do listen to our podcast on the off chance, please put some of these Community Day Pokemon as shadows during the event.
Well, I mean,
There's no reason not to.
I imagine the
I guess you'd have to purify or get rid of frustration, but
that's
still.
that's not the so the event details I'm sure have been hammered out a long time ago. The other thing is that I think any of the ones that have been shadows already, having them return is not a bad thing. So Spheal really needs to come back at some point. We could see it come back since it's a Hoenn Pokemon with Hoenn Tour and Team Rocket. Teddy Ursa.
Certain ones like Swampert, just shadow dominates.
Yeah. Teddy Ursa was a shadow for a brief period of time, and now it is gone, and it has not returned. Honestly, I think Swampert, Mudkip is one that's come back and forth a handful of times, that I honestly really appreciate how it feels frequent. I mean, as much as like I don't love to see it, but I think for the overall health of the game and health of PvP, and how absolutely how much of a staple Shadow Swampert is, I kind of appreciate it on that front.
I don't think Shadow Hoppip is broken, but that's another one that's no longer available.
Yeah, that just hasn't been around for a while. Yeah, there's just and we've had that conversation before, and I feel like we've had it recently enough, where the shadow rotation is just kind of not formatted great currently. So, yeah, we'll,
just throwing it out there.
They are not featuring or changing shadow Pokemon for this event. It's not something that's advertised, and they generally don't do that kind of surprise thing very often or with a whole lot of great feedback when they do it. So, yeah, if they're going to rotate shadows, that we're going to have to wait for the next Rocket Takeover. So, all right. Speaking of Silph Arena events, waves and rounds, updates to the rank system explained. So with the 2023 Silph League Arena season, the Silph Arena is adjusting a couple of overarching format adjustments, because they're not big changes. It's still one-on-one. It's not team-based. So the Silph League Arena is still going to be functioning in a very similar manner to as it has in the last. Has it been 3 seasons?
Yep.
It's been a while. So season 4 technically, I think. I'm gonna go broad strokes here because it can maybe get kind of confusing. And the website itself, the blog post on their website has more details and examples. I'm going to boil down even further what they have posted on their announcements via their Discord. So Silph Arena 2023 season. The arena is introducing waves, 2-month periods for competitors to manage rank instead of the traditional monthly cycle. So your rank adjustments will happen within 2 months rather than in each individual month. You will still have each month will still have its own cup. But you will have 2 months worth of 2 months time duration to adjust your rank before your before whenever you hit that maximum amount to adjust your rank, maximum number of activities to adjust your rank within tournaments, before you have to wait till the next 2-month period in which to adjust your rank for the season. Let's see. With this change, we hope to give battlers more flexibility in their schedules and remain competitive even if they have a particularly busy month on the horizon. Updates to the rank system. To support the return of in-person tournaments, the ranking system will receive an update. Rather than a specific number of tournaments counting towards your rank, you will instead be able to earn rank from a given number of tournament rounds. This means that a 4-round tournament and a 3-round tournament would provide an equal ranking opportunity as one 7-round tournament. This will allow battlers competing in small tournaments to remain on equal footing as those who regularly compete in large ones. And the reduced number of ranked battles. In addition to the above change for from tournaments to rounds, we will be lowering the maximum number of ranked battles for the season. This change will allow more battlers to stay competitive within the Silph Arena while requiring a smaller overall time commitment. Let me see if they specify how many. Okay. 40 rounds. So you have 40 rounds within one wave to impact your ranking. Any rounds past 40 will not impact rank.
That sucks because if those first 40 rounds you don't do too well, it takes you the whole season to figure out the ebb and flow of the format.
Yeah, it's a matter of pacing yourself because it counts, because it's a 2-month wave. You're not doing one 40-round tournament to start the first month and then absolutely destroying your opportunity to adjust your rank in the future. Let's see. Rounds are counted as used chronologically based on when the tournament begins. The moment a tournament begins and the number of rounds are determined, that number of rounds will be considered used from your total that wave. The one exception is that buys will not be counted as a used round and will not impact rank. Yeah! Oh my goodness, I could not be more excited.
I was waiting
Finally.
I was waiting for it.
They
heard you, Steven.
They heard me. So I'll have to adjust my my win-loss record, similar to how professional hockey does it, where you have wins, losses. Is it a 3 number or is it a 4 number? I don't remember exactly. I believe it's a 3 number system where you have wins, losses, and ties that are considered losses. Although realistically, it's wins, losses, and buys. But buys don't count, so realistically, my numbers go down to wins and losses. Interesting. I do appreciate that. So, all right. Competitors are responsible for keeping track of their rounds. Competitors can check current and upcoming tournaments on Silph.gg or on the Travelers cards to see details of concluded tournaments. So you have to count what your rounds are. There isn't a rounds counter on your Silph.gg trainer card or anything like that, which makes sense.
It sounds like they're going to start incorporating your trainer card a lot more.
Leaving a tournament early. Interesting. If a competitor withdraws or is removed from a tournament before all the rounds are completed, all played rounds will still impact rank. Rounds that take place after withdrawing will not impact rank, but they will still count towards the 40-round allocation for the wave. Ooh, that stinks. So don't drop large tournaments if you can avoid it, because that will reduce the overall amount of opportunities you can adjust your rank with. Nice. Interesting. If a tournament is canceled before the first round is generated, then no rounds will be taken from the competitors registered. If a tournament is concluded before all rounds are played and reported, or is not concluded before its eligible time frame, it becomes an unranked tournament, and none of the rounds, played or not, will count towards rank or your allotment for that wave. Wow, this is, from what I can tell, very awesome. So now we just need an absolute banger of a first season or of a first monthly meta to really drum up some excitement for the Silph League Arena 2023 season. Yeah, these are all super refreshing updates, I will say. If a bit nitty gritty for your casual players that maybe just want to play some more PvP in person or remotely, as compared to GBL or the Play Pokemon circuit. So, yeah, Jesse, what's your you feeling good about this? You feeling bad about this?
Honestly, for me, I don't think it changes personally much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still going to participate as much as I can, but I honestly think with the downtime, it's going to be, for people that organize these tournaments, it's going to be a hard sell to get people to come back. It's like, I play GBL, why would I want to come play Silph? And it's like, that's always been the argument, and it's always been a little bit easier to bring people in for Silph, but now that they're doing it in a different format, I think getting people engaged and trying to keep them coming back even after these wave periods will be, so for a person just starting competitive, this is a great way to coach people because it's a short period. It's a sampler. They can come in, try it, and if they don't like it, they don't have to come back. But for the longevity, I'm concerned.
Okay.
Because it's as an tournament organizer, I have to do a little bit more work to sell the tournament, essentially.
Okay, so you're more looking at it of, okay, in game there are no benefits for competing in the Silph League Arena. This is completely a third party org.
How do I make this enticing enough for people to want to try it? I mean, we'll still have some of our returning players, but as a tournament organizer, it's a little bit more footwork on my end.
That's always been, I think, the problem with the Silph League, and I will always be a problem until at some point the Silph Road and Niantic partnership evolves into more
like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, a more cohesive relationship within like the mechanics of the game. Then we'll see some more adjustments. Or then we might see, I don't know, more incentives to play this
I mean, the
format.
benefit for it being the monthly format was we had something to look forward to every month, either going somewhere or getting together as a group and playing. Whereas this is still kind of the same, but it's over a much longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. It could also just be a matter of this season going into, say, next year's season, so 2024, having if the dream for me is having a way where Silph League Arena competitions have ways to promote and connect with a play Pokemon bracket, be it either bracket seeding or points in which you can then earn entry into regionals or continentals via Silph League. Maybe those are all pipe dreams and those are never going to happen. But that's legitimately, I think, the only hook that will continue the Silph League Arena, from my point of view, the only way to see them that continue for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, my mind, I think, okay, we're kind of in a make or break moment, and I don't really know. Part of me says we're in a make or break moment for the Silph League Arena. Another part of me says it's not quite that bad, and you also don't have all of the information. And by you, I mean me.
Right.
Where like my two halves are like, kind of like fighting one another. So it's I don't know, kind of complicated. So
I mean, I know personally JMR has stated that they will not be hosting Silph Arena tournaments this season.
oh, he has.
Mm-hmm.
So he just doesn't have enough interest.
No.
Wow. Well,
Which means it'll come down to potentially us or Western Washington, who's been hosting just because they have enough people on campus.
does Seattle not have enough interest?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Huh.
I mean, Western was the biggest conglomeration of players for Silph Arena last year.
Yeah. I don't know.
It'll be a challenge.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll wait and see. So, okay. We are an hour and 23 minutes into the podcast recording. I'm going to hit split. Do you want to talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or do you want to hold off and keep it shorter?
I mean, I think we can talk about our experiences now that we've both beaten the main story.
Okay.
We don't have to go super crazy into detail. So
right. So for those of you that want to hear absolutely nothing about Scarlet and Violet, the new main series games on the Nintendo Switches, or Nintendo Switch, I should say.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Turn off the podcast and come back later, or just don't. We might do, if we do like a big old spoil. So we're gonna. If you want no spoilers, stop listening. If you don't mind, If you don't mind some information, continue listening. If you just don't care, welcome. I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm going to try and go out of my way to not spoil a whole lot.
I'll try to pick up on your cues.
Well, we have a format in which to DM each other. So, if there's ever any confusion, you and I can relay that via text instead of on the podcast vocally. So, okay. Hey, Snake Doctor, how's it going? Scarlet and Violet as Pokemon games are probably some of the best. Probably some of the best feeling Pokemon games I've ever played. The benefit is was playing through Ultra Sun, for last season's stream, so I have a very, very recent experience with a Pokemon, a what might be more seen as a traditional Pokemon game experience. That was very fresh. I had not gotten that far into the Sun and Moon games, as far as I did in Ultra Sun. And having basically stopped playing it maybe 2 weeks before Scarlet and Violet came out, I have honestly, serendipitously having a great comparison between the old and the new. Now, realistically, that's taking out of consideration Sword and Shield, which did happen on the in-between, which, Jesse, you and I both played.
Did a charity stream for it, too.
So, like, I'm not discounting the experience of Sword and Shield. I'm saying having the experience between what a classic Pokemon main series game experience was with Ultra Sun. I would say Sword and Shield is a hybrid experience, whereas Scarlet and Violet is a, I don't want to say reimagining, but adapting a main series Pokemon game to an open world format that people have been begging for since, oh God, I would say like the Elder Scrolls games started coming out, and people were like,
I'd say probably Black or Red Diamond and Pearl.
Like since the Elder Scrolls games started coming out on consoles, and people are like, we can make open worlds this big, work this well. Or actually, I would even say earlier than that with MMOs and like say World of Warcraft. Huge expansive worlds with tons of players and all of these RPG mechanics. I'm sure someone was like, hey, why can't we play a Pokemon game here? Why can't this be adapted? And it took them a while, but it has been. I was very positive going in, and I'd say I was pretty positive going in, and I'd say I'm very positive coming out. Jesse, I know you had a very different outlook beginning going into the game. So, walk me through your thought process ahead of time, and then as you're playing the game, and now that you're in post game, walk me through how you're feeling.
Going in, I thought, wow, we're at a Switch level and I'm still getting Wii graphics.
I mean, that's Nintendo. That's kind of just Nintendo.
I thought prior that this wasn't going to be enough to keep my interest. It felt like Gold and Silver, where it was more or less an expansion of a game. I felt like just making the character models look as young as they are. When are we going to get ones that let us define our characters any age we want? Going in, I wasn't impressed, but actually getting time off from work and being snowed in, having the time to sit down and fully engross myself in a Pokemon title, I'm very impressed with this game. Like, two top keynotes for me were the story and the music. I haven't listened to a full Pokemon soundtrack over and over and over and over and over since Red and Blue. And you know, because I have a CD in my car for the complete soundtrack of Red and Blue.
I think it's just a recorded soundtrack because you have like what is it? Sound effects, menu sound effects, and Pokemon cries in it. So it's kind of a bootleg.
Yeah.
You absolute nerd.
But I still struggle with the graphics. That's still a thing.
Oh,
even now that I've played through the game.
Hey man, call back to earlier in this episode when I said some Pokemon are only like 5 pixels wide. Good Lord,
when I say the graphics, I mean specifically the map, the way things are rendered. The one plus I'll give them on graphics on this are character models and Pokemon. Those were done very well.
Yes. So I think something you've mentioned is expressiveness.
Yes, when the character's not being a lifeless doll.
When a Pikachu faints, it does the surprise Pikachu face. It's a wonderful wonderful inclusion of the meme. Thank you. Thank you, Game Freak. Yes, all of the characters have a lot more expressiveness. I think their character animators really outdid themselves in some of these in a lot of the instances here. That really, I think, really help sell the story here, because I think this story is probably
one of the better ones, because the characters actually, I mean, what was the game prior to this where I thought the characters were like, it was the anime that did it for Sun and Moon. The anime for Sun and Moon is one of the best writings I've ever seen, besides all the shenanigans, but the writing for this, the way they took each character and gave them life, even the side characters have some tie-in or relevance to both you, the main character, and the overall story.
Where was it? I don't remember. I was thinking of going. Thank goodness it's not as handholdy as the previous generations.
Sun and Moon was pretty bad with hand.
Holy cow! So Sun and Moon was bad. I would say also going through. The only reprieve with Sword and Shield was basically the wild area, where you could take long breaks of not progressing the story to just go like catch Pokemon and do raids, where it doesn't feel you could take a break from having Hop or someone else just kind of show up and be like, oh yeah, just keep going where you're going, and by the way, it's a linear experience. You have no places to explore, except for once you beat 2 gyms from now, access to the wild area, or further access to the wild area, I should say. This game, so actually one of my negatives to this game, or one of my little gripes to this game, is actually the lack of hand holding. And let me clarify that. The game outright states, at least as well as in the marketing, specifically the marketing, that you can go out and do anything. So you can do any of these challenges of the 3 main stories, the 3 main paths. So Starfall Street, which is the Team Star,
the organized group of ne'er-do-wells,
the villains, you could say. What's
Gym Trainer Path?
The Gym Trainer Path, which is, what is it? The Victory Road. Because they're all named after paths. It's hilarious. What's the Herba Mystica?
I don't remember the name.
What do they call it? Jim is him. Do you happen to know it?
I can look it up.
it's probably like Sandwich Street or something like that. Titan Road. I don't know. So you can the advertising for it say, hey, you can go anywhere, do anything, go explore.
All right.
Huh?
Victory Road, Starfall Street, Path of Legends.
Path of Legends. So ha 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 ha. They're all based on linear movement, whereas the game itself is quote unquote open. Open world. Ha 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 ha.
I think I know where you're going.
Human experience. So while the game and the game I think a little less so, but the advertising basically says go anywhere, do anything. If you want to tackle, one, and it might have even been, some of the game's media ahead of time doing the previews that said, yeah, you can do one path over the other and kind of like not worry about some of the paths. There is an order in which, because there is no level scaling, there is an order in which you should, and I would very, 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 very much recommend approaching the 3 main paths, 3 main story branches, in the order in which the levels are assigned to them, because there is no level scaling. The way to find that out, because the game does not tell you this outright, the way to find out what order in which to do activities in is to talk to Nurse Joy and tell her, I am lost, where do I go? And she will tell you the next spot to go to per the level scaling. So I got a couple of challenges in. I got a couple of challenges in and basically got to a point where I was over leveled. So there was a core spot in the mid game. Actually, I was basically over leveled for all of the rest of the game at that point. So I got to a point, got myself over leveled for the mid game activities to the point where I went kind of sort of out of order and breezed through it. And had not as much fun because the difficulty wasn't quite there. So if you are looking for, my recommendation is to talk to Nurse Joy there at the Pokestop, Pokemon Center, like gas station things, whatever they convenience shops.
Pokemon terminal.
Yeah. Go talk to Nurse Joy and say, I'm lost and I don't know where to go. And they will point out, the Nurse Joys will point out, hey, you should go to this city, and do this activity, or you should go to this location and fight this Titan, or go to this Team Starbase and fight this type. That will keep you on track as far as level. You can always just catch a bunch of Pokemon and keep them in your box and freely rotate depending on how you're feeling as far as level. And kind of just adjust as you feel like. Yes, that's right. Jim and Sim is pointing out that they even mark it on the map. They'll mark it on your mini map as far as where you should go.
So I don't know if you're going to segue into this or not, but another thing that I know a lot of people have complained about as far as the go anywhere or do anything, there will come a point where your Pokemon, when they get to a certain point and you haven't done any of the gym badges, will ignore your commands like they do in the main series games. So at some point you are forced to do the gym path.
Yes. So that's the thing that's also kind of interesting where and again, it's probably a bit of the marketing, a bit of the game's media coverage ahead of time, and other sort of mixed signals. basically making it sound like, oh, you can do the gym challenge and not have to do any of the rest of the stuff. The Titans path is the Team Star is probably no. I'm gonna hold my tongue on particular details. As far as my enjoyment of the three paths, so the Titan path will get you movement abilities, which are key, and
It'll get you. It's if you've played Breath of the Wild, it's the key runes.
The gym path will allow you to catch, the gym path will allow you to catch higher level Pokemon and have them obey you. You can have the Pokemon you catch at the lower level and raise them above that level cap, and they will continue to listen to you.
I didn't have that experience in every situation.
That it's explicitly stated by the mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can.
I had that Surledge, and I traded it with my roommate, and when he traded it back, it wouldn't listen to me.
Surledge. Which one was that one? Oh, and you already had all of the gym badges?
No. This was at a point where I was on my 6th badge. It was level 40 or something. I traded it to him for his Dex register. And up until that point, it listened to me, but when he traded it back, it wouldn't.
That might be because then the game thinks that it hasn't been yours the whole time.
Right, but that's the one instance I can think of.
Right. So, but if you catch a Pokemon at a lower level
and train it up
past the level quote unquote level cap that your gym badges allow, it will continue to listen to you. It's only if you catch a Pokemon that's already above that level cap that it will not listen to you.
Yeah, because that's what happened with the Dratini that I got, the shiny one. I got it to a Dragonite, and it's like, nope, I don't want to listen to you.
Because you caught it at like a level 50 or something?
Yeah.
So the gym badges are the second most important as far as mechanics of the game, of experience of the experiencing the mechanics of the game, being able to catch just about any Pokemon and have it listen to you, and being able to have a team that's going to operate and function properly. Starfall Street doesn't have that same mechanic.
No, I think for that it's it, without spoiling too much, it unlocks TMs.
Yes. It unlocks additional TMs for you, and gives you additional TM resources to craft TMs. But it is also just a fantastic branch story. Jesse, just let me know when you've got a bump out.
Okay.
But to reach the end of the game, you do have to complete all three, which is something that really wasn't stated as clearly leading up to the game. It's not the end of the world just because the entire game in and of itself is super fantastic anyway. All three paths are fantastic. I had like a little ranking going on from the beginning, middle, and the end of the game as to which one was my favorite, and it swapped a lot, and it caught me off guard, and it got super twisty. And honestly, if you have been somewhat disappointed in the story, like I think they took a lot of criticism of Sword and Shield's story within its main series, or within the vanilla story of Sword and Shield. They really made it work in this game, because Sword and Shield was very handholdly, and very don't worry, keep all three paths were in one. And what was that, Jesse?
Sword and Shield story was very linear.
Very linear, and it was, oh yeah, this cataclysmic event is happening, but don't worry about it. Keep doing your gyms. We've got it. The grown-ups have it handled. Whereas in this game, it's very the way they phrase it in the game is you're off on your treasure hunt, so you can kind of just go do where all branches of this story are necessary to be completed for the final moments of the story, or to get to the final moments of the story, to unlock the rest of the world, to complete the Pokédex, to get to the end game. It is required to complete all 3 stories. The game's reference of finding your treasure, or going on your quote-unquote treasure hunt through the school, each person is going to find their own treasure within, be it with all 3 stories. One story in particular resonates more, completing the story as a whole, or even it might even take until after that you really do find your quote-unquote your treasure through your treasure hunt. So this game's great, and it runs poorly. I've heard a lot of people have considerably more issues and considerably more gripes with very similar circumstances to myself, as far as quality of the game, the number of crashes. Some people have said, I've heard one of the guys over at Kind of Funny, a podcast and gaming, not necessarily games media, but games coverage group on like YouTube and podcast services. One of their hosts, Tim, is a huge Pokemon fan, and similar to you, Jesse, was going in a bit negative.
Super screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going in a bit negative. I don't think he was quite the same level as you. He was not as hyped for this. But he has said after the fact, after it's come out and said, while the game is borderline unplayable for him with the sheer amount of crashes, I've had the game crash twice. He said he's had it happen like a dozen times. I don't know what he's doing differently to have it crash that many times. That it
wonder
is.
If the digital copy is more effective than the physical.
I don't know. The docked mode experience is borderline unplayable. Like he has to play it in handheld mode. I have had I've had less issues than that.
I hate playing it in handheld mode. My Joy-Con has drift.
I just like playing it on my new TV because it's bigger and I can see things. But he's played hundreds of hours, or getting up to 100+ hours. I think when I looked last night or the night before, I had about 80 hours. Yeah, it's not good, and I'd love for Game Freak to patch it and let it run better, and maybe the DLCs will allow it to run better, and future installments they might give it enough time to develop the game to get it to work properly.
Yeah, that might be one of my other negative gripes. Is it feels like it was rushed.
It does feel like it was rushed a little bit.
Definitely see it in some of the details.
It's polished,
but it's stuff that could be polished out. Like one of the negative things for this game is shinies don't make a sound or effect on the overworld.
It's polish, it's bug fixes, and it's quality of life improvements. It's like small quality of life improvements that maybe during development and during QA weren't quite picked up. There are quality of life improvements to the overall systems of the game that have greatly improved the experience. Like remembering moves is fantastic. Being able to remember
Yes.
moves it's already learned, especially if you've given it a TM when TMs are still one use only. There's a lot of
They definitely took mechanics from the last couple of generations and put them together fairly nicely in this one.
mm-hmm.
Between the resource gathering of Arceus and the raids from the Sword and Shield expansion.
Yeah, this game's great, and you should give it a shot. I don't know. At this point, we're just going on.
If you've got nothing better to do and you want something new for the holidays and you're a fan of Pokemon, I'd recommend it.
Yeah. I think that
I mean, it's honestly more exciting right now than Pokemon Go. Sacrilege, I know, but
no, not necessarily. We wouldn't be here with Pokemon Go if it weren't for the main series games. Like yours and I's experience with Pokemon Go is directly correlated to the main series games, whereas other people have started playing Pokemon via Pokemon Go. So, yeah, this is I just brain farted. Sorry.
I heard it from all the way over here.
Yeah, it's the I think there's a couple of things from Scarlet and Violet that, besides some of the new Pokemon, that very much excite me for coming into Pokemon Go at some point. I don't know, mechanically speaking, if we can have Megas and Z moves and Dynamax / Gigantamax Pokemon and terrestrialization. I honestly do not think it makes sense to have all of these at once. I don't know how in the world all of these things are going to get implemented into Pokemon Go and not have it be absolutely bloated and just not function, or all of these additional features that just never get touched in, say, up the Play Pokemon circuit because it just ruins balance.
Did I tell you about that? The new details for VGC for Scarlet and Violet?
Something to the effect of you have to show what your team comps are.
Everything except IVs and EVs.
Which I think is fantastic. So your Pokemon, the movesets, I was listening to is it Wolfie Glick?
Yep.
His video on my dog walk last night was talking about that. So if you're interested in listening to a little bit of the main series games competitive scene, I think his videos are pretty solid as far as breaking down some of that information. But yes, basically, we don't have. It's a similar method with the main series games competitive moving forward to Pokemon Go's, where you have to show your full team.
Tell the judges your moves.
Tell the judges your moves within Pokemon Go, but within Scarlet and Violet, you will have to show your opponent your full team of Pokemon, what moves they have, what items they are holding, and the Terra type that each Pokemon has, which can show quite a bit of your strategy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your opponent is prepared for it or can even recognize that you might be going with one particular strategy over another.
Right, because you can still only terrestrialize one Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can only terrestrialize one Pokemon per battle. I would love to see terrestrialization come to Pokemon Go. Again, mechanically speaking, I don't know.
I mean, it works with raids.
Yeah, they still have the raids. I think that functionality would still apply. It's just a matter of mechanics of being able to terrestrialize Pokemon.
I mean, it could work like Mega. Well, not really like Mega.
Mechanically, it can be implemented into Pokemon Go. It's more of a matter of, does it really make sense to add that additional
mechanic?
Yeah, does it make sense? It's not that can it, because it can. It's more of a matter of, does it actually benefit the game, or is it just adding it to add it?
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. What was something I was thinking of? I was like, oh my god, this is gonna work so well in Pokemon Go. Mechanic wise.
Breeding.
No. No. I mean, I kind of wish. I don't remember what it was. I'd be curious to see if like the Let's Go mechanic, where you're throwing out your first Pokemon, or you can throw out your buddy Pokemon and it could battle wild Pokemon to like gain levels or acquire items. That might be interesting, but I don't know if that will. I don't know if that will quite. I don't know if that will quite apply, but that might be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it is terrestrialization that I think like having it show up as raids would work. The only downside is Pokemon Go has all Pokemon. At some point, it will have all released Pokemon within its Pokédex, which will make getting particular Pokemon terrestrializing an absolute nightmare. It's it would work, but it'd be probably just a big pain in the butt balance wise that I just don't think they will ever do. Oh. Wait, what the heck? What the heck in heck? Jesse, are you already gone? All right, he had to scoot. He had to go move his car. But his Discord message is coming at me from 2 minutes in the future, according to my computer, and maybe that's why it crashed earlier. So, nice. Whack. I'm trying to remember, because I want to say there was one thing that I was like, this works too well. And I legitimately do not remember what it was. And it might have been terrestrialization. It might have been something else. I'll think about it more. I'll go play some more Scarlet and figure it out. Oh, that's what it was. It wasn't terrestrialization, though it is similar. You've probably already seen it, and I will not go into too much further detail, but Paradox Pokemon. Past and future, quote unquote, past and future, end quote, Pokemon. Labeled as Paradox Pokemon. There's some interesting lore stuff there that like I will absolutely not go into. But I would love to do a speculation podcast. Jim is him. If you're still here, I'd love to get some like a small squad together and just sort of like do another special episode of the B-SAD where we just speculate because there's some really interesting stuff. Maybe we just do a review roundtable of like our overall thoughts of Scarlet and Violet, just because I don't know, I want to chat with people about that game or this game. But Paradox Pokemon are going to work so well for raids. It's going to make so much sense to have them be raid exclusive. Don't put them in eggs. Don't put them in 12Ks. That's absolutely stupid. Having the ultra wormholes bring over having ultra wormholes pop out ultra beasts narratively makes so much sense to then have the paradox portals bring in paradox Pokemon for raids because they can't be bred, they can't be evolved from or into right, yeah, there's no
There's no way to replicate them.
There's no way to replicate them. There's no way to evolve a just base Pokemon into their evolution or into their paradox evolution. But they share some of the same
Qualities as the Ultra Beast.
Paradox Pokemon are just going to work really well for raids. The one thing is they're going to share the same candy as their base forms, but they will not be able to evolve.
They might. Might be something entirely different.
I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, that'd be incredibly convenient because then people who have been catching Delibird for the last 5 to 6 years will have something to invest it in.
I mean, Fanpy. I'm trying to go off of the ones that have already been publicly put out. So I'm trying to be as delicate as possible as talking about the ones. But the Dawn fan, the Paradox Dawn fans, you can't evolve a Fanpy into either of the Paradox forms of Dawn fan. Which makes them perfect to put them in exclusive raids. Now that's going to limit them as far as I would not want them to be mythical or classified as mythical or legendary where you can only trade one per day. That's dumb.
You know that'll happen, though.
There's a chance that'll happen, and I hope we are not at that point once these Pokemon come into the game. But I think the Paradox Pokemon make a lot of sense to maybe share the same candy type, but not allow them to evolve. So do it like the Alolan Pokemon. Do it like the Galarian form of Pokemon where they're in raids. Maybe they're in research. They don't pop out of eggs. But they also can't be evolved to or from because that's just not how it works in the main series game either. But some of those Pokemon are really cool. Type-wise, some of them are interesting, if not... Some of them are kind of bland.
I mean, most of the Violets are pretty bland.
Type-wise, I'm like sometimes a little underwhelmed. The Dawn fan for Violet is pretty cool as a ground fighting. I don't think that shows up a whole heck of a lot.
Or no, ours is a ground steel. Yours is ground fighting.
Right. Oh, did I say Violet? So Scarlet's ground fighting. Yours is ground steel.
Mm-hmm.
That's not unique. There's a couple of them that have... So there's a couple of Pokemon in the game that aren't Paradox that have very unique typing. Or if not, are the first of their kind as far as type combos, which are very cool. But then some of the Paradox Pokemon have an interesting typing. So there's one from Violet with Electric Steel. That is... Or not Electric Steel, Electric Fighting, which I think is the first of its kind?
Zorua was an electric fighting.
Oh, okay. But it's not a mythic in this case. It's Paradox. So that's cool.
I mean, there's two electric fightings. If you're talking about the Paradox Beast, there's one, and then there's also the one you get in the starting area.
When you get in the starting area?
Palmy.
Oh, that's right. Palmy is a fighting electric once it evolves into its third form. Stat wise, I can't imagine that's going to very well, but
It's pretty good. Casey uses it on his team.
I do dig it shiny though. That is a nice red orange. Yeah. Yeah,
I'll just be happy if we get Lechonk in Pokemon Go.
yeah, we might get a couple of those starting Pokemon from Poco Path pretty early on. Considering we have a handful of those ones a handful of the ones, because it's not an entirely new Pokédex. There is 200 returning and 200 new.
That sounds about right.
It's ballpark. And I think some of the new ones are also classified as some of the quote unquote new ones are just alternate forms. Yeah, we might see. Let's see what pops up in Poco Path. Palmy. There isn't a new bird on Poco Path. What's the bug? It's a spider web one.
Oh, I forget its name. The one with the yarn ball on its back.
Yeah, it evolves into Spidops, which is weird. Yeah, Lechonk. Lechonk is a great shiny. Lechonk is a perfect shiny. Oh my god. I only wish that it was a fire type and not a normal type, because that's kind of bland. We might see a couple of those when they first. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen them already, to be honest, in Go. I mean, I get that this is kind of like the season of Hoenn, but like, come on, you just put out a new game. Let people know that you just put out a new main series game and tie it together.
I think that's what they call wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something that we see within January once we get into the new year.
I think it's going to be a summer thing.
My only complaint with that is that your primary window in which to get additional sales, which realistically at some point you're going to hit diminishing returns. You already outsold literally every other Pokemon game within the first weekend.
What was it they said in the first week? This one game sold more copies than the entire library of the Wii U.
Yes. I mean, that's a pretty low bar to cover, just because the Wii U really didn't sell well.
The Wii U was a fun console. Shut your mouth.
I'm not saying the Wii U wasn't a fun console. I'm just saying the Wii U sold like absolute garbage. Don't name your console like a sequel. Name your console like a new console. I'm looking at you, Xbox One. What in the world is that naming? Although I guess realistically, PlayStation has done it. PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. That's a whole other conversation. Yeah, go play this game, man. Some of these Pokemon are gonna be really cool. The box legendaries in Go might be weird scale wise. They're motorcycles, so that's gonna be kind of interesting to have them race around the ground. Also, the storyline for the legendaries in these games are so much better than like literally any other game. So, yeah. Hopefully they can find a way to bring that together, kind of like honestly what they're doing with what they did with Cosmog into Cosmoem into Solgaleo or Lunala is a step in that direction. of like adventuring with that Pokemon for a period of time, and watching you and you and that legendary Pokemon form a bond over time. That's very cool. And I think I'd love to see that kind of correlate into Pokemon Go when the box legendaries come out. So, so, yeah, go play this game if you at all like Pokemon, or if at all like open world games, go play these games. And if you have questions and want to hang out, pop into the Discord. It's open to everybody, and we are happy to help out. Trade Pokemon, answer questions, help out, do whatever. Just don't ask me to battle you, because I won't. Just don't.
I hopped on DeFi stream last night, and she was just beating Iono.
Ah, the VTuber. Her stream music pre-battle is pretty solid, because her battle theme is all of the gym leaders' themes. But like the promotional videos they did beforehand, where it was like the YouTube stream of Iono doing a live stream, was actually pretty interesting. Probably one of the only gym leaders I'll ever know the Japanese name for. It is no, it starts with an N and has a J in it. Not Nijima. No, that's a character from oh goodness gracious. Another a Sega series. Nijima. That's from the Yakuza series. Nanjimo. So it's Iona in the North American version, Nanjimo in the Japanese version.
Okay.
Also, Arvin's name in the Japanese version is just Pepper. Like, I think Roman characters and everything is just Pepper. I have no idea what Nemona's name is or what Penny's name is, but yeah, that's a choice, I guess. I don't know, man. Sometimes I sometimes question the translations and changing up of names so much sometimes. But I can also, I mean, I have to take into consideration that like I don't understand it, but it also helps like kids who are the primary demographic of the Pokemon franchise to like better pronounce names, because I can't imagine a 4 or 5-year-old trying to say, I mean, I have a hard enough time saying Iona or Iono. I don't know. I have a hard enough time with that. Not that Nanjimo is any better, but like, boof. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that'll do it for Battle Science Podcast. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Jesse, you got any final points before I close this out?
Have a good holiday.
Yep. Have a good community day. We will catch everyone after Christmas / Hanukkah. So, or maybe in the middle of Hanukkah. I don't actually know off the top of my head what the dates are for Hanukkah. So I apologize if I seem to be disrespectful to anybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful time hanging out with their family and their friends.
If you can't, come join us and we'll chat with you.
Stay warm because it's getting colder. Or
It's
if
gonna
you're in
snow
the
again on Sunday.
probably, if you're in the southern hemisphere, I hope you stay cool because it's probably getting warmer. Everybody have a happy holidays. We will see you once more before the new year. to close out 2022 before we reach into 2023. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Thank everybody for tuning in. Twitter at battle_science, youtube.com/c/battlescience. Pop into the Discord. Come say hi, hang out. I know the Discord's been pretty quiet, but we're still here. Just busy and I don't
Waiting
know.
for the next big thing.
Yeah, pretty much just riding the waves. So, we'll catch you out there on the battlefield.
Happy holidays, everyone.